Crucifixion was one of the worst forms of execution. This form of execution was used on a large scale by the Romans. The population in the occupied territories, and also the population in the inner Roman provinces, was treated with this cruel psychological deterrent, kept from rebellions and armed uprisings. Why did the Romans insist on crucifixion as a widespread form of execution selected in the Roman Republic and later Empire? At this point, the Romans could not be imagined in their arch dreams that the crucifixion of a humble man of Jewish descent is a world religion will be founded, which will spread all over the world in the next 2,000 years. Before the Romans, the crucifixion was a type of execution that was particularly widespread in the ancient Near East and in antiquity. It developed from the idea of prolonging the agony of the executed as much as possible. At crucifixion, a person was tied or nailed to an upright pole, with or without a crossbeam. Where was the origin of the crucifixion? In the Roman Empire, it was mainly non-Romans and escaped or rebellious slaves, who were crucified on the cross, in Latin arbor crucis. After the Constantine Revolution in AD 313, crucifixion in Europe was replaced by other methods of execution. In this video, I tell you the story of a worst and cruelest execution methods that ever existed. Here we go. The Romans did not invent this cruel form of execution. Some ancient cults used crucifixion to make it clear to their subjects what happens if they don't act as they were told. At the time of the Persian ruler Darius I, who reigned from 522 BC, was great king of the Persian Empire, the citizens of Babylon drove the high government officials out of the city, and began an armed uprising. Great King Darius I could no longer accept this uprising and surrounded the city with his troops. The siege lasted 19 months, until the city fell and Darius took the city. The Greek script manufacturer Herodotus mentioned in one of his reports about Persia that Darius I after the conquest of Babylon brought down its ramparts and gates, so that the city would never be like it again. Rebellion can start. The city was returned to the citizens of Babylon, but Darius I commanded to crucify 3,000 people from high and wealthy classes in the city. In 332 BC, the Hellenistic general Alexander the Great conquered the Phoenician city of Tyre. The city of Tyre was a base for the fleet of the Persian Empire for several centuries before the conquest. Tyros was finally taken, after some 7 months of bloody siege. After the Greek forces broke through the fortifications, the army was Phoenicians already at the end of their strength. According to historical sources, on the day of the capitulation of Tyre alone there were about 6,000 people died. In addition, sources indicate that Alexander the Great ordered 2,000 people from the population of Tyre to be crucified, whether the children, women or older people. The crosses were placed along the shore of Tyre. According to Roman law, crucifixion was not an ordinary deadly execution. Crucifixion was used in special situations. Slaves were allowed under Roman law, for stealing and instigating and carrying out rebellions and insurrections to be crucified. Roman citizens were not allowed to be crucified. A special case of the crucifixion of Roman citizens was when they accused high treason of the Roman state, or the coup in the form of changing the form of government. In the provinces of the Roman Empire, crucifixion was used to affect people who did not conform to the added power of Rome. These people were accused of stealing and fomenting local unrest. The slave Spartacus, originally from Thrace, broke out of a gladiator school in Capua in 73 BC. When he broke out of the gladiator school in Capua, other slaves escaped with Spartacus. Spartacus and his companions were united by their hatred of the rich, overbearing, and decadent Roman society. This society has built its prosperity and untold riches on the backs of slaves, The anger of all escapees or freed slaves at the social structures of Rome, who from all corners of the empire joined the uprising of Spartacus, was so powerful that Spartacus could form an army of several thousand warriors out of it. Spartacus was able to build up an army so strong that the Roman war machine took 2 years could put up considerable resistance. The Roman general Marcus Crassus was finally able to put down the uprising. But this victory cost the Roman Empire numerous legions, and as a result caused the largest mass crucifixion in the history of the Roman Empire. Spartacus fell in the final battle, and his companions who survived were with all crucified other slaves of the rebellion along the Via Appia road, between Rome and Capua. 6,000 crosses were erected for this execution. Legend has it that the executed man's palms were only nailed to the beam of the cross in all the pictures and illustrations of the Christian church at the Crucifixion. Jesus of Nazareth. However, today researchers know that the palms of the hands which pierced with a nail the weight of the executed couldn't hold. The weight would likely tear the tissues between the fingers, and the executed falls down. For this reason, the arms were tied with ropes to the beam of the cross to support the weight of the body. But another method was to drive the nail through the forearm. The bones and tissues of forearms are strong enough to support the weight of the body. The first method, related to crucifixion in the Roman Empire, was to bind the executed to the crossbar. Historical sources describe that the executed person did not have to carry the whole cross up to the place of execution, but only the transom. But the vertical wooden beam was already dug into the ground, and was not removed. The executed man was hung with his crossbeam on the longest beam. The longest beams were used for a multiple crucifixion. This approach of the Romans was effective and resource-saving. According to the Jewish historian Josephus, wood was a shortage in Jerusalem in the 1st century AD. The executed man was stripped of his clothes, and nailed to the cross and ropes attached. The crossbar was raised higher and higher until the executed man's feet were hanging in the air. After that, the feet were either nailed to the long beam, or tied with ropes. When the Romans saw that the executed man was still alive for longer than they wanted, their legs would tremble broken a little quicker to bring about death. In some cases the convict died while being flogged. Especially when the whips end with sharp points, were provided with barbs. If the execution took place on a cold day, the previously executed person could die of hypothermia when he was on the cross than by the crucifixion itself. The main cause of death at crucifixion was not blood loss from the nails driven in or the flogging previously performed. By hanging on the small of the back and stretching the arms. After some time, the ribs were so deformed by the tension that the lungs had to work harder. At some point her lungs became too weak and the convict could no longer breathe. Breaking the two hastened this death process. Christianity, which arose at the time of the Roman Empire, has lived through many times up to the present day. The Roman Emperor Constantine the Great announced in the Treaty of Milan in 313 AD. From this decision came the toleration of the Christian faith, and that all Christians received the same rights as Roman citizens. First persecuted in the Roman Empire, Christianity became the state religion of the late Roman Empire. After many centuries of horrific executions, Emperor Constantine the Great ruled in AD 337, crucifixion forbidden in the Roman Empire. This act was made through the Christian faith, and suffering of Jesus Christ motivated on the cross. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please leave a subscription and a thumbs up. See you soon. Your channel History Best.